So I met this guy my freshman year of college that I definitely had a flirtationship with, until one day I just never saw him again. But that was of course until one day I did, my senior year of college. Here's my cheesy college sweetheart Disney movie love story with my boyfriend of now 2 years.
Downtown we let it go, sunset high and our bodies low, blood rush in a hazy glow, my head still goes, loose up, we break the scene, one step deep as you fall to me, hot clap, we skip the beat, count 1, 2, 3.
Hey y'all, what is up? It is Marissa Nicole and welcome back to my channel and happy Monday, September 14th. I actually know the date today and that's really important obviously for today's video because today is Griffin and I's 2-year anniversary. Obviously if you've been here for a while, y'all know Griffin. He is my boyfriend and we've been dating for, like I just said, 2 years. I've told our story many times, but basically today I thought would be a fun video because as you guys know, I treat my channel like a virtual diary. I like to record and post things obviously for you guys but also for myself. I like to look back on things and just watch my funny videos or watch these kinds of videos of mine because it's like my diary. So today's video is one of those kind of like diary posts in a way. I hope you guys still enjoy it or you find it cute or whatever, but somebody gave me the idea, actually one of you guys I think DM'd me or commented on something and gave me the idea to do basically a walking through me and Griffin's relationship like I did for the videos that I did when I graduated. So I posted a couple different videos of me going through each year of college and just kind of walking down memory lane, going through old pictures and videos or whatever it may be that were around during those times and just kind of shared those with you guys, like funny stories, whatever. So it was very just like a diary entry, those videos, and someone said I should do that with me and Griffin and like our relationship. So I thought it would be perfect to do it for our 2-year anniversary to just kind of like walk through what's been happening these past 2 years and give you guys a little insight on our relationship if you don't know us or maybe some stories that you haven't heard yet. But if you're new here, please consider subscribing down below and follow me over on Instagram for more content over there and for funny pictures of Griffin and I. So in my college videos, I walked through my Facebook and went through like each year of school in my Facebook. So I'm basically gonna do that. However, I will say I don't have pictures of when me and Griffin actually met. So I can tell that story first and then we'll dive into when we really started to like date and talk and everything. So my freshman year at Ohio State, I moved into Siebert Hall. And early on, I met this guy. Obviously it was Griffin, but I met this guy and he was super nice and super sweet. And we talked a couple times. We played volleyball together out in like the sand volleyball pits and he ended up like breaking his finger there. It just, I don't know, it was one of those little like flirtationships that whenever we'd be around each other, it wasn't that often. Like it was really only within the first few weeks or months of school. And every week, each floor of the building was in charge of picking a movie and making a dinner for everyone in the building to like come down and eat some food and watch a movie or something. And so one week it was Griffin's floor's turn to do that and they were making pasta, some spaghetti, and I don't remember what movie they chose, but it was their week to do it. And Griffin texted me and asked me to come to it. And so in my head, this was a full-on like date, or as much as a date as you can get as like a freshman in a college dorm with like no car, no money kind of stuff. Like he's using his resources, okay? This is an event that's already going on. He invited me to go with him or to come to see him. And so in my head, it was a date. Now, if you ask Griffin, he always jokes and says it's not a date, but whatever. Now, unfortunately, after that, he texted me a couple days later or whatever, and I never texted him back. And we just kind of drifted apart. Like I really never saw him again. If you guys ask Griffin though, he would notice me on campus or notice me in the building or notice me at different places, or I'd be like a suggested friend on Facebook or something, and I would just keep popping up over the years. Now for me, I never saw him again. Like I never heard his name again. I never saw him again, and it was just like he was gone kind of thing. I don't want to speak for him, but Griffin says it because it was kind of like the one that got away, and so he would like notice me when I was around because he'd be like, oh, she's the one that didn't text me back. So like it's funny because he had to deal with like seeing me all the time, but like I didn't really think of him, unfortunately. But now we fast forward, that was our freshman year, fast forward to our senior year of college at Ohio State. So now during the first week of moving back to campus, I wouldn't say classes because classes hadn't started yet, but I moved into my sorority house. I had new roommates and I had like kind of a new group of friends because I had just joined my sorority the year prior. And the first week is always really hectic. It's a lot of partying and just getting back to school kind of thing. And so we were going to parties all week and just hanging out, and we ended up at a house party that I knew no one at. I just went with my friends and my sorority girls girls, and I was in the kitchen of this house party, like drinking jungle juice or something, and I see a guy that he looks so familiar to me. And so I just walk up to him and I go, hey, did you live in Siebert? And he kind of goes, yeah. And I go like, oh my gosh, me too. Like I was so excited. I was like, ah, this is so great. And he goes, yeah, you're Marissa, right? And I'm like, yeah, what's your name? Like I don't remember, because I'm just so bad at names. So it's nothing against Griffin. I'm just really bad at names. He goes, oh, I'm Griffin. And then it kind of like hit me, and we like talked about it, the fact that like I never texted him back, and I was like, oh my goodness. But we ended up like hitting it off essentially that first night, and we played beer pong together. We were partners and we won, and there was of course a lot of like flirting happening, just like catching up kind of thing. But still in my head, I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, oh, I know this guy, cool. And then the next week, my sorority had an event with a fraternity. We went over to their house for that event, like a social or something like that, and he was there again. And I was like, oh my goodness, like hi, whatever. Come to find out he's in that fraternity, and of course like I'm in my sorority, and so we were like hanging out that whole night, and I remember at the end of the night I went to go leave, and he was like, oh, like text me when you get home safe, because I was like walking back, because one of my sorority sisters was dating a guy in his frat, which is actually his big, and so I went with her, but then I was leaving her there with him, and I was gonna walk back to the AO Pine house by myself. It was only like literally a block over. I was like leaving her there, and he's like, oh, text me when you get home, and I was like, I don't have your number. And he was like, why not, kind of thing. Come to find out, he still had my number in his phone from freshman year as my name, 706, because that was the room that I lived in Siebert. And I was just kind of like, oh shit, like I don't remember your name, I don't have your phone number, like what is like it just was so funny to me. And so he ended up walking me home and then gave me his number, and we started like Snapchatting and texting and stuff like that. And I remember the first time we really hung out one-on-one was because he had asked me what I was doing, and I was sitting in my bed at my sorority house watching The Office bloopers, and he goes like, oh, I don't really watch The Office. And I was like, oh, well, have you ever seen Scrubs? And he goes, yeah, like I love that show. And I'm like, oh my freaking god, me too. And we went off, we started talking about our favorite characters, and I was like, I'm so mad because they took it off of Netflix. And he goes, oh, well, it's still on Hulu. And I was like, I don't have Hulu. He goes, I do. And I said, I'm coming over. I walked a block over to his frat house, and we sat in his room and we watched Scrubs. And that was like our first time like hanging out together, aside from like parties. And then we hung out again, I think the next week or the next day, I don't remember, something like that, to watch Scrubs again. And that is where we had our first kiss. And he's gonna hate me that I'm telling this part, because he hates that he said this, but it is the best thing that he has ever said, and I still get like, I don't know, butterflies when I think about it. It's just really cute. He kissed me. He kind of did that whole like, my head was under his head, so he had to like pull my chin up and like kissed me. And then he goes, I've been waiting 4 years to do that. And my heart just like, oh my gosh, it's just so cute. And I was like, and we just kept watching Scrubs. And I think definitely that kiss like solidified that like, okay, we're like definitely talking, but we weren't dating yet. Then came Block, which I told you we were partners with their fraternity for. So we weren't dating yet, but I was like making sure this was like our first block, and I made sure I looked like really cute, and we were going over to their frat house, and we ended up taking like this group picture together of all of us in this boat, and obviously he's the one behind me. That was kind of like the first time that we were in public together. Like before we would talk, but nobody really knew we were talking. It was kind of just between me and him, which I liked. Then came September 7th, 2018. I don't have pictures of this night, but this is the night he asked me to be his girlfriend. I think I've told this story before, but long story short, I was completely drunk off of a Four Loko. Warning, I was throwing up over his porch, and he thought that that would be the perfect time to ask me to be his girlfriend. I was throwing up, and he goes, will you be my girlfriend? And I'm literally like head over the porch. I look at him and I'm like, I'm gross. And I didn't answer him because obviously I was trashed, and I ended up having to like stay the night at his house. He like took me up and like tucked me into bed and like went back down to the party, and I was just like knocked the whole night. And then I remember the next morning he like asked me if I remembered anything, and I don't know if he knows this, so I might be exposing myself, but he asked me if I remembered anything from the night before, and I told him no, like I just was really drunk. Even though I knew that he asked me, I was just like scared to answer him really. So I was like, no, I don't remember. So then he was trying to like go around the bush of like re-asking me, I could tell, but he was nervous, and I was just like, no, I don't know anything, like, because I wanted him to ask me like not when I was drunk, like And so he ended up having to like re-ask me, and then I said yes, but that was like a week later on September 14th, 2018, which is the day we started dating. After that, of course, we were dating, so we were officially like an item, and I would go to his fraternity like date parties with him. He would come to my sorority date parties with me, and then you know it's official when we had like a matching Halloween costume together. And this is the best thing I've ever done in my whole life, because I went through a hardcore emo phase, and so we thought it'd be funny that we like be emo or scene for Halloween. So I ended up straightening his hair, putting makeup on him. There's a whole video of this, and we dressed up as like scene people for Halloween, and we were like a scene couple. That year for fall break, we ended up going to Hocking Hills together just for like the day so we could take pictures, and they're honestly probably the best pictures that have ever been taken of me. But that was really cool because that was our first time like going to do something together and like going on like a trip. We didn't stay overnight anywhere, but just still going together was a lot of fun, like the car ride and just taking pictures and stuff. He took me to my first Blue Jackets game, which is hockey, the hockey team here in Columbus, and I literally fell in love with hockey that night. Griffin and I, of course, went to the football games together, and we ended up senior year seeing Ohio State beat Michigan at the Ohio State-Michigan game, and this is where this picture was taken, which is honestly the best picture we have ever taken together. I don't think we will ever get a good picture like this ever again. And then for my 22nd birthday, we went to go get hibachi because he knows that that is my favorite restaurant or type of food of all time. And I think the nights that I'll miss the most of like college are just like the chill nights like this one. We literally were just at a fire in the back of his frat house, and Griffin's trying to roast marshmallows on a fork with an oven mitt. Like that kind of stuff is that I really cherish. And then the next year in January was recruitment, which is when I got Rachel and Lexi as my littles. I think bid day was on like a Monday, and that Friday, DU, which was Griffin's frat, had a party which was like 90s themed. And if you guys know me, I'm obsessed with the 90s. All I listen to is 90s music, so I was so pumped for this party. And of course I brought them. They weren't my littles yet at this time, but I was solidifying them. So I brought them to this party, and they got to meet Griffin, and they loved him, and Griffin loved them. So then I knew we would all be a nice big happy family together. That year for Valentine's Day, Griffin took me to another Blue Jackets game. And then in March, we went on spring break together with like a group of our friends. And that was my first time ever doing like a trip with my friends or a boyfriend or like anything like that. And so I was really excited. There's so many vlogs and videos of all of that if you guys wanted to watch like 2 years ago's spring break. And then with the new semester came brand new sorority formals and fraternity formals, which of course we went to. DU hosted like a jersey party, I think, and Griffin and I ended up twinning in our Blue Jackets jerseys. Are you surprised? No. And then for Griffin's formal, fraternities usually go somewhere and go to that formal, and so they went to Gatlinburg, or what we call Fratlinburg, and so we got to like stay in a cabin with all of his like fraternity brothers and their dates, and of course like I was Griffin's date, so we all went all the way down to Tennessee and stayed in a cabin for the weekend, and that was so much fun. My first time ever doing that. But I had no idea that dates were supposed to make their dates coolers, and so Griffin told me this, so I had to make a whole cooler for him. I was like so new to like the Greek life scene or whatever. Honestly, my cooler came out really freaking cool, and so I'm happy about that, but it took me so long to make it, but it did turn out really good, and Griffin loved it. And then by the end of the year, Griffin was also staying a 5th year, and I was staying a 5th year, so I was like, oh thank goodness, because we can obviously stay together and like be here at Ohio State together again for another year. I moved into an apartment, so not the sorority house, and he moved back into his fraternity house, but of course we were just like back together and, you know, going to bars, going to parties together. And as you guys know, Griffin is obsessed with like bikes and cycling and stuff like that, so this year Griffin bought me a bike so that we could ride together, and we ended up going like on our first ride, and it was so much fun, and I honestly like fell in love with it too. Of course there was blocks that we had. Fall break this year was so much fun. We actually went down to Athens and did another like bike ride, and it was so beautiful. There's an entire vlog of fall break. It's one of my favorite vlogs ever. I forgot about this. I don't think there was any pictures of it. No, there wasn't, because it was pouring and like sleeting and freezing rain the last time. But the year before, we went down to or up to Cedar Point for Halloween weekends with one of his fraternity brothers and my sorority sister. They were dating, and this year we went again, so it's kind of like our annual trip, and I'm so sad that we won't be able to go this year probably. So every year sororities and fraternities usually have like a Founders Day event, which is like signifying the day that they were founded however many years ago. And so the year before, we went to Griffin's Founders Day event, but it was on the same night as our like date party, so I remember we only went for like 20 minutes or something and then had to go to my date party. But this year we went to his Founders Day event, and I just gotta say we looked really good, okay? And then this Halloween we dressed up as TJ and Spinelli from Recess, which I also thought our costumes were really good on. This picture is us at Ethel and Tank, which is a bar on campus, and at this point I forget what day it was, Wednesday, him and some of his frat brothers and my sorority sisters, we all like dated. There was like 3 couples of us, and we would go to trivia night at some of the bars, and so that was like a big kick we were on. I forgot about that, but we would always go to the bars and play trivia and have drinks every week, which was a lot of fun. And we went to the Columbus Zoo to go see the zoo lights, and it's so pretty. Griffin took me to hibachi again, again for my 23rd birthday. And I remember in that vlog I had a complete mental breakdown before we left, but he's used to that by now. And so far, this is like the proudest day of my life, which was when Griffin graduated from Ohio State. Like, I was so proud and so happy for him. Oh, and then Griffin and I got to do like our first family vacation with his family that Christmas. So last Christmas, we flew down to Florida because his parents have like a house in Florida. But that was really cool because of course that was like a step up in our relationship that like I'm going on family vacations now. Like, I'm a part of the family. I was freaking out, okay? Everything was just so pretty. We got to be by the beach all the freaking time. We went on the boat. It was just like such a good vacation with him. And I know we came back December like 30th because we had tickets to the Blue Jackets game for New Year's Eve, like the 31st. And that was the best game ever. Oh my goodness. I ended up catching a t-shirt and I'm blanking right now, but somebody got a hat trick off of that. And that was freaking amazing to see. That was my first hat trick that I saw. They had a whole like fireworks show. Like, it was just so cool. But then school started for the next semester, which was so weird because of course Griffin was graduated. He was working full-time at Trek. I was still in school. So like, it was kind of weird because we would sometimes walk home from class together or like get food in between stuff, but like he wasn't on campus anymore and it was kind of sad. But for Valentine's Day that year, like I spoiled him for like 4 days straight. I remember like I gave him these little candy snacks that had like, you know, cheesy love letter kind of things on them. We went to a fancy dinner. We went to Olive Garden for dinner and we even went to Sorry, my battery just died and the sun's starting to come through weird on the blinds. We're gonna move over. Okay. We even went to the candle lab and made like a candle together. I told him that this Valentine's Day was like all on me. So this year, he better get me in 2021. That's all I'm saying. And then this past spring break before everything, you know, went to shit, we went back down to like the same area and went with a bigger group of friends. And that was so much fun. We went zip lining, which was like my first time ever doing it. And that was so much fun. We found so many cool places to take pictures at, of course, because you know me. We went mini golfing. We went to Savannah, Georgia, which I'm from Georgia. So like Savannah was so much fun to be back in Georgia. And then came Corona. Griffin ended up moving in with me essentially to quarantine with me. And so we had a lot of face mask nights and just like nights together, obviously like every night together. We were cooking meals together. And then of course I graduated. Oh my goodness. I was so upset that I didn't get my graduation and that like Griffin couldn't see me walk across the shoe or like I couldn't see myself walk across the shoe, but it is what it is. And that kind of brings us to more present day stuff. So after I graduated, we started looking for apartments and I ended up finding this one and we applied for it and we got accepted and we moved into this amazing, beautiful apartment home together. And we've been slowly making it our own. It's just so cool to actually live together in our own space, not just, you know, him quarantining with me at my apartment. Like, this is our shared space, which is so much fun. I now work with Griffin, so we work at the same job together and that's been, you know, amazing. And I didn't think it would be fun, you know, but it's so much fun. And looking back at how we were when we first met, we have grown like exponentially. We have matured so much. Like, our relationship has matured so much. I think we've both just gotten so much better. Our relationship has gotten so much better. And it's just crazy to like look back at, you know, 2 years ago and look at where we are now. I love that you guys love Griffin and our relationship just as much as we do. And it means the world that you guys like support us and just like give him crap and ask him questions when I do Q&As. Like, he really appreciates it. And it's just cool to like live our life, but to also like live it with you guys. So thank you for being a part of it with us. We love sharing our relationship with you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little walk down memory lane with Griffin and I. I know it was fun for me to do, and it'll be fun for Griffin to watch because he doesn't know I'm filming this video. I just like these kinds of things just to remember. It's like a virtual scrapbook, a virtual diary, and I live for these kinds of videos. So thank you for watching. I'm sorry it's not my normal content, but I hope you guys enjoyed it or thought it was cute or whatever. But I love you guys so much, more than you'll ever know, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Won't you start the music, get into it, won't you dance with me? Find the place and lose it, you can do it, won't you dance with me? Move your feet and feel it in the space between. You gotta give yourself a moment, let your body be